The journey through these pages will be uncomfortable at times. It will require you to confront your deepest fears, challenge your most cherished beliefs, and question everything you thought you knew about yourself and the world around you. It will demand that you enjoy the flair of your own unique brilliance and make a wish on the water, trusting in the power of your own intuition and inner guidance. This book is for those who feel like fallen stars, those who have been marginalized, misunderstood, or silenced. It's for the comets, the astrologic and astronautic souls who are here to shake things up, to disrupt the status quo, and to blaze a new trail for humanity. It's for the atomic hieroglyphics, those who hold ancient wisdom within their very DNA, waiting to be decoded and shared with the world. Break the Mold does not offer easy answers or quick fixes. Instead, it provides a framework for self-inquiry, a set of tools for dismantling the structures that confine. Break the Mold, a declaration of self-creation, is not just a book, it's a journey, a raw, unfiltered exploration into the depths of self-discovery, the courage to challenge imposed limitations, and the audacity to sculpt one's own reality. In a world, this is more than a legal guide. It's a spiritual and philosophical exploration, urging you to look beyond the visible, to embrace knowledge as your ultimate shield, and to understand that true leadership is servant leadership, a shared vibration of empathy and co-creation. Inspired by the wisdom of figures like Nikola Tesla, who understood that all is light, Carnage One Nonly, The Sovereign's Awakening invites you to lead with honesty, honor your collective pulse, and become an inspiring force for a future where law is a shield, not a cage. Are you ready to awaken? To transform ignorance into power? To reclaim the sovereign being you were always meant to be? Book outline: Carnage One Nonly, The Sovereign's Awakening, From Legal Fictions to Natural Freedom. Forward: The Genesis of Awe, by Carnage One Nonly. A personal introduction to the inspiration behind the journey, music, life, and the quest for true understanding. Setting the stage for a profound
material from which you will sculpt your destiny. But recognizing this potential is often the first hurdle. In a world that bombards us with messages of inadequacy, comparison, and limitation, it's easy to lose sight of our inherent worth. We are taught to conform, to fit in, to follow the prescribed path. From a young age, we are often discouraged from exploring our true passions and talents, instead pushed toward careers and lifestyles that are deemed practical or successful by societal standards. The bow represents the intentional act of focusing your energy, directing your efforts, and aiming toward a specific goal. It's the conscious decision to take control of your life, to harness your potential, and to manifest your dreams. But the bow is not just about setting goals, it's about aligning your actions with your values, your purpose, and your authentic self. It's about creating a life that is not only successful but also meaningful and fulfilling. Many of us struggle to draw our bow effectively. We may have grand aspirations, but we lack the clarity, the focus, or the discipline to translate those aspirations into reality. We may be distracted by external influences, consumed by fear of failure, or paralyzed by self-doubt. As a result, we end up living lives that are far below our potential, settling for mediocrity instead of striving for greatness. The key to unlocking your potential lies in self-awareness. You must take the time to truly understand yourself. Your strengths, your weaknesses, your values, your passions, and your purpose. This requires deep introspection, honest self-reflection, and a willingness to confront your own limitations. It means challenging the limiting beliefs that have been programmed into your subconscious mind, and replacing them with empowering affirmations that support your growth and expansion. Begin by identifying your natural talents and abilities. What are you good at? What do you enjoy doing? What comes easily to you? These are clues to your inherent potential, the areas where you are most likely to excel. Don't be afraid to experiment, to try new things, and to step outside of your comfort zone. The more you explore, the more you will discover about yourself and the world around you. Next, consider your values. What is most important to you in life? What do you stand for? What are you willing to fight for? Your values will guide your decisions, shape your actions, and define your character. When you align your life with your values, you will experience a sense of integrity, purpose, and fulfillment. Finally, reflect on your purpose. What is your unique contribution to the world? What are you here to do? Your purpose is your North Star, the guiding light that directs you toward your highest potential. It is the reason you get out of bed in the morning, the driving force behind your actions, and the source of your deepest satisfaction. Once you have a clear understanding of yourself, you can be. Consider the individual who experiences a devastating loss, a broken relationship, or a career setback. Initially, the pain may be overwhelming, a darkness that threatens to consume everything. However, within that darkness lies the potential for profound awakening. The old identity, the old patterns of behavior, the old way of life, all are shattered, leaving space for something new to emerge. This is not to romanticize suffering or to suggest that we should actively seek out pain. Rather, it's an invitation to shift our perspective, to see challenges as opportunities for growth, and to find meaning even in the midst of despair. When we embrace the devastation as a necessary part of our journey, we become our own savior, capable of navigating the storms of life with resilience, grace, and wisdom. The hot represents the fiery passions, the intense emotions, and the creative energies that drive us forward. It's the spark of inspiration, the burning desire to make a difference, and the unwavering determination to overcome obstacles. The cold represents the periods of introspection, reflection, and stillness that allow us to process our experiences, integrate our lessons, and replenish our energy. It's the quiet wisdom that emerges from the depths of our being, the unwavering sense of inner peace that sustains us through challenging times. Many of us are conditioned to fear the hot, to suppress our emotions, and to avoid conflict. We are taught to be rational, logical, and controlled, often at the expense of our authentic selves. But by denying our passions, we stifle our creativity, limit our potential, and diminish our zest for life. Similarly, we often resist the cold, the periods of solitude and introspection that are essential for self-discovery and growth. We may be afraid of what we will find within ourselves, the shadows that lurk in the depths of our subconscious mind. As a result, we stay busy, distracted, and disconnected from our inner selves, perpetuating a cycle of anxiety, stress, and dissatisfaction. To truly embrace the hot and cold of existence, we must cultivate emotional intelligence. This means developing the ability to recognize, understand, and manage our emotions, as well as the emotions of others. Means allowing ourselves to feel the full range of human emotions, joy, sadness, anger, fear, grief, without judgment or suppression. When we embrace our emotions, we unlock a powerful source of energy, creativity, and intuition. We become more authentic, more compassionate, and more connected to ourselves and others. We are no longer afraid to express our feelings, to stand up for what we believe in, or to pursue our passions with unwavering determination. The cold requires us to cultivate stillness, solitude, and introspection. This means creating space in our lives for quiet reflection, meditation, and self-inquiry. It means disconnecting from the constant noise and distractions of the external world. 8. The experience is thus one of continuous discovery, like stumbling upon a forgotten frequency that suddenly brings a distant world into sharp focus. The book aims to be that frequency, a channel through which these latent energies can be brought to bear, illuminating the complex interplay between our personal histories and the vast, resonant ether that surrounds and permeates us. This initial foray into the concept of unsummoned resonance is not merely an introduction, it is an attunement, a preparation for the deeper explorations of ancestral cadences, pop culture, mythologies, and the profound riddles that bind us to the collective human experience. The psychic hum is the first note in a symphony that is both deeply personal and universally resonant. The psychic hum, that low-frequency thrum of existence, finds its deepest resonance within the labyrinth of ancestral memory. These are not the neatly catalogued biographies of lineage charts, nor the polished narratives passed down in family lore. Instead, they are the ghost notes, the spectral cadences that bleed through the veil of generations, embedding themselves in the very marrow of our being. They are the rhythmic patterns, deeply etched into the unconscious, that dictate not just our inclinations and aversions, but the very syntax of our emotional lives. To speak of ancestral echoes is to speak of a lineage not of names and dates, but of felt experiences, of patterns of desire and dread, of archetypal gestures that repeat themselves with unnerving persistence across the temporal divide. Imagine, for a moment, the tactile sensation of sifting through a box of old photographs. The sepia tones, the faded edges, the slightly warped surfaces, these are not just physical imperfections, they are markers of time's passage, but more importantly, they are portals. Each image, however static, carries with it a charge, an energetic imprint of the moment it was captured. A fleeting smile, a hardened gaze, a posture of defiance or submission, these are not merely visual data. They are condensed narratives, encoded emotional states that, when encountered, can stir a dormant response within us. We might look at a great-grandmother we never knew, her eyes meeting ours across a century, and feel a pang of recognition, a sense of kinship that defies logical explanation. This is ancestral cadence at play, a subconscious resonance triggered by a visual cue, a phantom echo of shared humanity. The way she held her head, perhaps, mirrors a habit we ourselves possess. A subtle tilt that speaks of a particular way of confronting the world, a way that has been transmitted, unbidden, through the invisible channels of our shared bloodline. These echoes are not confined to the visual. They manifest in the very rhythm of our thoughts, the way we structure our internal monologues. Perhaps a particular 7. Potent conduits, capable of channeling archetypal energies that connect us to something larger than ourselves. This concept of summoned energy extends beyond mere personal recollection. It speaks to a larger energetic field, a psychic hum that arises from the confluence of individual experiences and collective narratives. It is the palpable force that arises when a stadium erupts in shared emotion, or when a mournful melody drifts from an open window, instantly affecting those who hear it, regardless of their personal connection to the source. This energy is summoned not by deliberate intent, but by the sheer force of shared humanity, by the constant ebb and flow of our emotional lives interacting with the vast ocean of collective experience. The setting for this exploration is a liminal space, a transitional zone where the boundaries between past and present, between the conscious and the unconscious, begin to dissolve. It's a place akin to the quiet hum of a vacant theater after the performance, or the hushed stillness of a library after closing hours. In these interstitial moments, the residual energy of human presence is palpable. The echoes of laughter, the phantom footsteps, the whispered secrets, they all contribute to a psychic atmosphere that is both eerie and deeply familiar. This is the environment in which the unsummoned resonance thrives, where latent emotional energies are poised to surge forth, triggered by the slightest shift in the ether. The book's voice, a mosaic of ancestral memories and contemporary cultural detritus, is crafted to resonate within this liminal realm. It's a voice that acknowledges the weight of inherited stories while simultaneously embracing the fleeting ephemera of modern life. It's a voice that can move seamlessly from invoking the rhythm of a forgotten folk song to deconstructing the impact of a viral meme, recognizing that both carry significant psychic weight. This is not a mere juxtaposition, it is an integration, a recognition that our present selves are woven from these diverse threads. This act of tuning into the ether, of listening for the unsummoned resonance, is presented as a fundamental aspect of our existence. It's akin to learning anew. Language, one spoken in the subtle vibrations of emotions, in the charged silences between words, in the potent imagery conjured by fragmented memories. The anticipation it fosters is not one of simple curiosity, but of a deeper, almost primal yearning to connect with the hidden currents that shape our lives. It is the desire to understand the transmissions that arrive unbidden, to decipher the meaning embedded within the psychic hum. 9. Anxiety, a gnawing sense of inadequacy or an ingrained predisposition towards caution, can be traced back not to a singular personal trauma, but to the collective anxieties of ancestors who lived through periods of profound scarcity or societal upheaval. These are not learned behaviors in the conventional sense, they are inherited frequencies, emotional wavelengths that are picked up and amplified by our own developing consciousness. They are the subconscious hums that tell us to hoard, to fear the unknown, to be wary of authority, or conversely, to seek solace in communal gatherings, to trust in the cycles of nature, to find strength in collective action. These are the ancestral cadences that shape our gut reactions, our instinctive responses to the world around us, often before our rational minds have even engaged. Consider the fragmented imagery that surfaces in dreams, those fleeting, often illogical sequences that can leave a lingering emotional residue upon waking. These dreamscapes are fertile ground for ancestral memory. We might find ourselves in settings that are utterly alien to our waking experience: vast, windswept plains, ancient forests, bustling marketplaces from a bygone era. We might be speaking in tongues we do not consciously understand, or performing actions that seem imbued with an ancient purpose. These are not random hallucinations, they are the subconscious mind sifting through the accumulated psychic sediment of our ancestral past. The cadence of a dream language, the rhythm of an ancestral prayer, the visceral fear experienced in a dream of being hunted, these are all manifestations of an inherited energetic tapestry, a symphony of experiences played out by those who came before us, the echoes of which still vibrate within our neural pathways. The transmission of these cadences is rarely linear or explicit. It is more akin to the way a melody can be passed from one musician to another, not as a written score, but as an intuitive understanding, a feel for the phrasing, the dynamics, the underlying emotional arc. Ancestral memory operates in a similar fashion. It is a felt sense, an intuitive knowing that bypasses the logical faculties. It's the inexplicable comfort found in certain natural landscapes, the uncanny sense of belonging in a place we've never visited, the instinctive draw towards particular artistic expressions or spiritual practices. These are the subtle cues, the inherited rhythms that guide us, often without our conscious awareness, towards experiences and expressions that resonate with the lives of our forebears. The language of our ancestors, even if lost to us in its spoken form, persists in the cadences of our inner voices, in the emotional undertones of our thoughts. The particular intonation of a lament sung by a grandmother whose words are now 10. Indecipherable can resurface as a melancholic inclination, a particular sigh that carries the weight of generations of sorrow or resilience. The sharp, percussive rhythms of a celebratory dance, even if forgotten in its choreography, can manifest as an underlying exuberance, a spontaneous urge to move that feels both personal and profoundly ancient. These are the fragments of a lost tongue, not of words, but of emotional tonalities, of psychic frequencies that continue to shape our internal dialogues. This embedding of ancestral experience is not a passive inheritance. It is a dynamic process. The energies of the past are not inert, they are latent, waiting for the right triggers to awaken them. Our own lives, our own experiences, act as resonant frequencies that can excite these dormant patterns. A particular chord progression in A piece of music might not only evoke a personal memory but also tap into a shared ancestral response to a similar harmonic structure. A moment of profound injustice might not only trigger our own sense of righteous anger but also amplify an inherited predisposition to resist oppression, a pattern forged in the crucible of past struggles. We become conduits through which these ancestral cadences are re-expressed, recontextualized, and, in a sense, relived. Think of the way certain cultural motifs, patterns of storytelling, or artistic conventions persist across civilizations and epochs, often with striking similarities. While some of this can be attributed to shared human psychology, a significant portion speaks to the deep-seated influence of ancestral archetypes and narrative structures that have been transmitted through the ether. These are the underlying rhythms of human expression, the recurring themes of creation and destruction, of love and loss, of heroism and betrayal, that have been sung, painted, and told in countless variations since the dawn of human consciousness. Our engagement with these motifs, whether consciously or not, is a participation in these ongoing ancestral cadences, a weaving of our own threads into the grand, timeless tapestry of human narrative. The challenge, and indeed the invitation of this exploration, lies in learning to discern these ancestral cadences amidst the cacophony of modern life. They are often masked by the immediate sensory input, the relentless barrage of information and entertainment that characterizes our present existence. Yet, they are there, these subtle shifts in mood, these inexplicable attractions and repulsions, these flashes of insight that seem to arrive from nowhere. They are the faint melodies that underpin the dominant noise, the deep-seated rhythms that provide the foundation for the more transient beats.
11. This subsection, then, is an immersion into that resonant substratum. It is an acknowledgement that our individual psyches are not isolated islands, but intricate extensions of a vast, interconnected network of ancestral experience. The images we encounter, the sounds we absorb, the emotions we feel, they are all part of a continuous transmission, a flowing river of energy that carries the imprint of countless lives lived. By attending to these subtle echoes, by listening for the rhythmic patterns embedded within our unconscious, we begin to understand the profound and often mysterious ways in which the past continues to shape the present, not as a collection of historical facts, but as a living, breathing, resonating force. The fragmented imagery of old photographs, the whispered cadences of forgotten tongues, the instinctive responses that seem to arise from a source beyond our immediate experience, these are the threads with which we begin to weave a deeper understanding of ourselves, a tapestry imbued with the vibrant hues of our ancestral heritage. The unsummoned resonance here is the deep, abiding rhythm of the collective human soul, pulsing through the veins of time, waiting to be heard. The ancestral echoes are not merely echoes of joy and triumph, they carry the full spectrum of human experience. The fear that gripped a generation facing famine, the stoicism of those who endured oppression, the deep melancholy of losses that were never fully processed, all of these emotional frequencies are transmitted. These are not abstract concepts but felt realities that can manifest as irrational anxieties, persistent low moods, or an overwhelming sense of apprehension in the face of certain circumstances. Consider the way an individual might develop a phobia of enclosed spaces, a deep-seated claustrophobia that has no apparent origin in their personal life. This could be a residual frequency, a psychic imprint of an ancestor who experienced the terror of being trapped, of suffocation, of a desperate struggle for air in a confined space, perhaps during a conflict or a natural disaster. The memory, in its raw energetic form, has bypassed the conscious mind and embedded itself in the very architecture of fear. Similarly, the predisposition towards certain artistic expressions or vocations can be deeply rooted in ancestral experience. A compulsion to create, to build, to bring order out of chaos might stem from an ancestor who found solace and purpose in craftsmanship during tumultuous times. Conversely, a deep-seated skepticism towards authority or societal structures could be a legacy of those who suffered under tyrannical regimes. Their experience is etched into the collective unconscious as a deep-seated distrust. These are not conscious decisions but inherited inclinations, the ingrained responses of a lineage that has navigated specific challenges and developed particular strategies for survival and meaning-making. The cadences here are not just emotional, they are behavioral, a subtle scripting of our actions and reactions that carries the wisdom, or the wounds, of generations. The concept of fragmented imagery becomes particularly potent when we consider the transmission of nonverbal memory. Before the widespread literacy and standardized forms of communication that define modern life, memory was often encoded in ritual, song, dance, and visual symbolism. These forms, by their very nature, are often impressionistic, relying on evocative imagery and rhythmic patterns to convey complex ideas and emotional states. When these fragmented pieces of memory are transmitted, they can surface in our consciousness as striking, yet often perplexing, visual or sensory impressions. A sudden, vivid image of a particular celestial alignment, a recurring scent of an unknown flower, a phantom taste of a food never encountered. These can be the slivers of ancestral experience. T13. This subsection, then, is an invitation to listen more closely to the subtle murmurs within ourselves. It is to acknowledge that our internal landscapes are not solely shaped by our immediate personal experiences, but are also profoundly influenced by the energetic imprints of those who came before us. The fragmented imagery, the inherited anxieties, the instinctive inclinations, the lingering emotional tones, these are all pieces of the larger ancestral narrative, a mosaic of lived experiences that continues to resonate within us. By recognizing and attuning to these cadences, we begin to unlock a deeper understanding of our own identities, to trace the invisible threads that connect us to a vast and enduring human lineage. The unsummoned resonance here is the deep, abiding hum of shared human experience, a continuous broadcast of survival, adaptation, and the enduring search for meaning that has echoed through millennia. It is the silent testament to the lives lived, the loves felt, the struggles endured, all of which continue to inform our present reality in ways we are only beginning to comprehend. The psychic hum deepens, revealing the intricate, ancestral cadences that form the bedrock of our consciousness. The psychic hum, that low-frequency thrum of existence, finds its deepest resonance within the labyrinth of ancestral memory. These are not the neatly catalogued biographies of lineage charts, nor the polished narratives passed down in family lore. Instead, they are the ghost notes, the spectral cadences that bleed through the veil of generations, embedding themselves in the very marrow of our being. They are the rhythmic patterns, deeply etched into the unconscious, that dictate not just our inclinations and aversions, but the very syntax of our emotional lives. To speak of ancestral echoes is to speak of the lineage not of names and dates, but of felt experiences, of patterns of desire and dread, of archetypal gestures that repeat themselves with unnerving persistence across the temporal divide. Imagine, for a moment, the tactile sensation of sifting through a box of old photographs. The sepia tones, the faded edges, the slightly warped surfaces, these are not just physical imperfections, they are markers of time's passage, but more importantly, they are portals. Each image, however static, carries with it a charge, an energetic imprint of the moment it was captured. A fleeting smile, a hardened gaze, a posture of defiance or submission, these are not merely visual data. They are condensed narratives, encoded emotional states that, when encountered, can stir a dormant response within us. We might look at a great-grandmother we never knew, her eyes meeting ours across a century, and feel a pang of recognition, a sense of kinship that defies logical explanation. This is ancestral cadence at play, a subconscious resonance triggered by a visual cue, a phantom echo of shared